And of course, the question that people are asking about this story, did the officer go too far? I mean, the hurt man, he's 84 years old, weighs $150. Was there possibly something else that this officer could have done in that situation? We're going to talk about this right now with the family's attorney, Mr. Mark NeJame, joining us right now. Mark, how are you? Good to have you here.
Nice to see you.
All right, so you get dozens of calls like this every week. Why did you take this case?
This one seems to be a completely unjustified use of force. We do get a lot of these calls. We routinely turn them down. We're very selective about the cases that we do take on. This one seemed especially heartbreaking, and when you hear the story of this man, he's served in 3 wars, Vietnam twice, World War II, excuse me, and he's got a perfect history, a loving man, a kind man by all accounts. Mm-hmm. And when we hear the story, it's just pretty much outrageous what happened, and we're wanting to do our investigation and before we draw any final conclusions, but we're surely heading in a direction of finally concluding what we think occurred.
Well, you heard what the tow truck driver had to say, but I understand you're hearing a decidedly different story.
Well, the tow truck driver was gone when the police came, and then the tow truck driver left, so he wasn't there to witness any of this. What's significant, though, there's a big difference. Our investigation today shows that the sign for no parking was not in the spot that he was parked in. So it looks like anybody would be outraged if they were being told that their car was being towed, and it turns out that the sign, which is in an adjacent spot, not even in the spot you're parked in. So it's pretty normal that somebody would be upset the fact that they were being towed when they were parking in a legal spot. But neither here nor there. What's significant is that the officer apparently came, and there was a discussion. There are several civilian witnesses who we've spoken to now, and or a couple of civilian witnesses who all indicate that there was nothing violent going on. And if there was something violent going on, one must ask themselves, why was the officer's fellow officer who was sitting in the car, why did they not come out to render aid if they sensed any aggression?
And
obviously there was none.
Isn't he 90% deaf, your client? So maybe he was putting his hands on like his shoulder and trying to talk to him.
And by all accounts, that's exactly what happened. It was non-aggressive. It was an elderly person talking to another person and just discussing things. And the fact of the matter is to then throw somebody over your hip, and the break is a C1, cervical 1. This is called the hangman's break. This is when you hang somebody, they're meant to die.
Right, and he's not paralyzed, though, right?
Thank God, as of now, he's not paralyzed. He had a surgery today. Usually there's about a 90% chance of death or paralysis immediately. And right now, the operation was good. He's not out of the weeds. Right. So we'll see what happens and hope that he gets through this.
Mark, real quick, we just had a case where, a grand jury came back, no indictment against some officers on excessive force. How difficult is it to prove excessive force?
Well, usually law enforcement is justified. I mean, that's just the reality of it. They're in tough situations, but not always. And we all know that sometimes there's some bad apples in the cart. We don't know about this particular officer yet. I do know, though, that he's 26 years old, versus an 84-year-old man who's been in 3 wars, never been in trouble a day in his life. The officer's been on the force for what we understand is about 1.5 years, and we understand that there's been 3 complaints already. Don't know. We need to find out more, but one would measure one versus the other. And an 84-year-old person who's never been in trouble, served honorably, by all accounts is a great person. Some real questions need to be asked, and we're asking them.
Mark, we appreciate you stopping by tonight.
As always, thank you.
Okay. I want to share with you right now, though, what OPD has to say about this case. Take a listen.
If somebody grabbed you around the neck and went like that and said, I'm not going anywhere till I knock out this cop, are you going to wait around?
That was Barb Jones talking there. We dug up Officer Lamont's personnel file. He's been disciplined. You heard Mark NeJame talk about it 3 times with the department. 2 of those were for car accidents. 1 was for a failure to obey a department policy. Police not telling us exactly which policy that was.